Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creative Minds, episode 6. This is Gerard.
It's Brian.
There's Emilio.
Hey, guys. So, here we are again, another week. Interesting week. There's quite a lot that is going on. So, we always start by just checking in to see how the week is. So, how was you guys' week?
Oh, it's been a good week. Already glad to be almost here to Friday, and market's down a little bit,
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. Yeah. It's another week. Uh, Kicked out a good week. Now just ready for the next one. Finish off strong.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the week has seen quite a lot of ups and downs with quite a lot happening. I mean, one thing that I remember is the LeBron James Foundation, right? Getting in contact with crypto.com and they are striking a deal. So, what do you guys think about this whole deal between the LeBron James Foundation and crypto.com? This is very timely after crypto.com suffered the hack, which happened not too long ago. So is this a PR move or is this really a strategic move that could yield benefits for crypto.com? What do you guys think?
Oh, I already see. You can already see what's his name that's already doing the Crypto.com commercials, but Matt Damon. Matt Damon is already doing the
Right,
commercials.
imagine.
I think it's just another strategic event to get more people to look into crypto, see what it actually does, how you can invest in it, and it's
Yeah,
not just some Ponzi scheme or something like that. But it's going to be some positive price movement. I can tell you that.
I think that's good what you just brought up right now with the Ponzi scheme. But I think it's a strategic move on both ends.
yeah,
One end as a crypto.com, they merge with people that are well known and inside of homes. With the names like Matt Damon, which was the face in the beginning. Now they're matching up with with him, and then as LeBron James with crypto.
yeah,
Now, out of anybody or any other type of space that he could have gone, he went with crypto.com.
yeah.
But he sees the value. He is a Laker though. You get what I'm saying? So
Yes,
going with that, and he works in this in sports arena, the crypto arena. So
yeah,
he sees what's going on with that. So
right,
it's a strategic move on both ends. Even with his startup, that's almost $1 billion. So everything's strategic. He's a
right,
businessman.
yeah.
He sees it.
Definitely. I mean, the crypto.com arena and the Lakers, it does make sense
Yeah.
for one big Laker fan that has, or one big Laker, player that is that's known in our homes very easily is King James, right? So for him to have this strategic partnership, it does make a difference in the sense that probably more people that really didn't think about even getting into crypto.com. Now they might be asking questions. What exactly is crypto.com? Why is LeBron James's foundation even involved in this? Or maybe it's legit. Who knows, right? So there are so many reasons why some of these strategic partnerships come into play. But today we are going to be talking about something that's slightly different from crypto.com. And although it does have something to do with currency, finance, stocks, we are going to be talking about inflation, right? Inflation is a term that a lot of people always hear about, when at times things get really, really, really messy in the economy, where there's probably not that much money floating around. People are not able to meet their ends meet. But before it even gets to that point, most people probably would definitely want to understand what inflation is. And we are going to talk a little bit about that topic today. From an overall, perspective, what would you guys say is something that is kind of, related with inflation that you guys can relate to within your own areas or homes or personal lives and stuff like that?
Gerard,
Brian?
Jordan, I'm going to start off by just saying that, like, most people, when I try to talk to them, like, a lot of people do not understand how inflation is actually affecting them. They're not even aware of it really, or they're thinking that, okay, I can just leave my money inside of a bank account and nothing's going to be fine. My money is going to stay the same. It's to the point you got to actually learn about what inflation is and, like, how it's actually affecting your wallet by everything
Yeah.
increasing around you. It's increasing your cost. You're losing your buying power every time you try to buy something later on as the years go by. So that's what inflation is.
Hey, I definitely do agree with you, Brian, right? From a very practical perspective, when inflation hits, most people even do not see it coming. Some that understand it would be like, yeah, I saw this coming. But
Mm.
for those of us that are really the average Joes, those of us that have no idea about the market, about the industry, we just live our daily lives, right? We just go to the store, we buy our food, and then we come back, we eat. You know, the inflation still affects us, everybody, but it might affect, others in different ways, depending on their, lifestyles and stuff like that. Emilio, you once told me a story about the aspect of, the gallon of milk. I really would like for you to kind of clean that story out when it comes to how inflation would really affect, people that might not really see it coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah. People mostly see it in the aspect of like the gallon of milk, and there
Yeah,
goes a story of like they say, oh, you see the gallon of milk rising. You know, it went from like $2 to $3, $4 almost.
yeah,
And people that don't really know and are, when we use inflation, this is a loosely used term. You know, the people that don't understand it just don't understand the inflation part. They just look at it like, oh, everything's going up. That's all they hear. You
yeah,
know, they hear it from sometimes from the next person. But when you go to the store and you start buying stuff, and you know that with $60 you were able to buy a set of different things from the store. Now you go the next year at around the same time. Now those $60 turn into 120, and I'm talking about double, right? I mean,
yeah,
we're kind of going overboard, but it's the same thing. It's That's how you know that everything is going up. That's what inflation is. It's just it's a general increase of prices. Uh, Now with all the consumer price
yeah,
goes hand in hand with the employment cost.
yeah, exactly.
Everything goes in hand in hand. So there's people that are like, hey, can I get a raise? Can I get a raise? They're not getting it because for them, even for as a company, for them to raise it, now they have to raise all the prices of the goods. So that's how they go in hand in hand. So if they raise the price for the gallon of milk, that means that they raise the money of how the workers get paid. So
Yeah,
and that's just going a little bit more deeper into that part. But it just for you to understand that both things go hand in hand: the consumer price and
yeah,
the employment cost.
exactly.
Yeah,
No, absolutely. And then, there are certain things that, start happening, that people always want to do to protect, themselves, against inflation. But when it comes to this aspect of the wages, Brian, I would like for you to throw some light into, how, people, look into this when it comes to maybe how much money they earn, what they are able to buy, how is this related to people's, the lifestyle and the ability to grow career-wise and make those decisions on how much they should be paid, right, based on speculation of inflation that might be taking place.
Yeah, draw I give the example of the $50,000 a year man. So the
Yeah,
$50,000 a year man basically, he lives within his means. He takes care of his home, pays all of his bills.
yeah,
Still is able to put in like $10,000 a month inside of it. Not $10,000 a year into his savings
yeah,
account.
hmm,
Even with him doing everything perfect, inflation is still going to catch up to that guy eventually. If he gets no more pay raises, or
yeah,
if his pay raises barely go up, 1 to 2% a year, he's getting caught. It's like somebody coming into your house just stealing, taking a lamp, taking a light bulb from you every day, and it's that slow taking of your money. When you do decide you want to spend it, then you're going to have to put out more to purchase that car, to pay that light bill, or to buy gas, because literally everything is going up around you. And like Emilio said, we have the milk example, but we have more than just your cost of food going up. You
yeah,
got, if you want to, I try to look at it and give people a broader expectation. Your gas, your electricity goes up, your mandatory car insurance that you have to pay, your mandatory medical insurance that you have to pay every year.
Yeah.
Those premiums go up every year, no matter how good of a driver you are, no matter how healthy you are. Uh,
Yeah.
all these things going up every year. But if your pay is not going up from your place of employment, then that's when it's going to catch up to you. So this topic is really geared towards showing you what inflation is and how you're supposed to combat it by building some type of passive income, because this is literally hurting your pockets by allowing your money to be sitting in savings accounts and old means of investing. We just kind of got to evolve our way out of that type of thinking.
Hey, I do see exactly, with you guys in terms of how this affects people, within their daily life and their jobs, and how they go about even making some of these decisions. And there's just something that I would like for us to talk about just a little bit, right? And you guys have already touched upon this, right? How do you factor inflation into job negotiation or product pricing, right? I would like for us to look into this in two ways. First of all, the job negotiation part, and then the product pricing, right? Then Emilio, I would like for you to talk about the product pricing, how you factor that in, and then Brian, you can then just reiterate again, how do people go about putting this aspect of inflation when they are making those decisions of their wages, right? Right. Let me start with you, Brian. If I am an employee and I want to factor in inflation, how do I go about taking that into consideration?
I'm actually about to pull this up so we have a perfect example of what is going on. Now, I'm not trying to pick on the entire world, but we mainly here we're focused on the United States. So, if you take a look at the global rate of inflation of last year, 2021, you can see that everything went up by at least a rate of 7%. So that means if you did not get coming into 2022, if you did not get a pay raise of at least 7%, you are behind the curve. You're already losing money. And that's
Yeah,
whether or not you're trying to bring over your money that you made last year. You made good investments, but for the most part, everybody was kind of at a L last year, all at a loss. So 7% was the inflation rate for 2021. That was a big year. We don't know what it's going to be for 2022. Um, Even keeping your money inside of a savings account at this
yeah.
point, you're just losing at this point because your savings accounts are going to be at 0 point nothing basically. Let me pull up one more quick slide so I can show you guys something else. Now, I like to pick on the banks as much as I can because they're the ones that's really they're making money, but
Yep,
they're not paying everybody else. They're not
Yeah,
giving
they're
yep,
making
everybody
money
else.
out of our money.
yep. Making a lot of money out there, right? So,
Okay, so here's an example right here. I would say these are your banks commonly held by most people: Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, a huge whopping 0.1% interest. Like that's going to get you probably $1. If you just going off the basis of you inputting $1,000, that's
yeah,
going to gain you $1 a year, maybe, depending on what's going on. And then when you try to take that $1,000 out, if you haven't put it into anything that's actually providing you an actually passive income, it's not going to generate you any money. So you have to get your assets out of these savings accounts. These are just basically, you might as well go throw your money underneath a mattress at this point if you're going to put it inside of a savings account. You
yeah.
have to get it into like places where it earns actual interest. Maybe it be a dividend or the stock market or crypto earning a passive income for you.
This is Now, this is really, very, very in depth. I do agree with you. It's not about picking on the banks or anything, but it's for sure that regardless of where your money is, when inflation hits, it hits everybody, right?
Mm.
It's which is described as the situation where you do have let me read what I found out here about a definition of what inflation is, right? It says it's a decrease in purchasing power of, let me see, of money, right? Reflected in a general increase in the prices of goods, right? So that basically just explains it, right? The power of money reduces and the prices of goods just go high up. So the inflation doesn't really discriminate. If it hits you and you're not ready for it, you are definitely going to feel the pinch, right? Regardless of where you are or what type or what type of study you are on. So I know you guys still have some comments to say about this. Brian, what do you have to say before I jump to Emilio and then we are going to take our first break?
Yeah, another thing with the stagnant wages is also leading to people in the workforce. You'll see a lot of people. Okay, I've worked at this place for a year. They didn't. They gave me a one or 2% raise. I'm going to jump to the next job. It's basically people. What they do now, they leapfrog into the next
Yeah,
job because
absolutely.
most jobs will usually get a 10% raise depending on where you're going because you're going to negotiate your salary for the next job. You're not going to try to go in at the same rate, whether it be 5%, 10%, 15%. That's what you're constantly seeing out here, especially in my line of work. I see that a lot. Most people are doing the same as well, government wise as well. So you'll see those very that job hopper mentality.
Yeah,
And it's something that's I don't blame people for doing because literally you have to keep they're trying to keep up with inflation.
you have
They're
to keep
also
up with
trying to
inflation.
save up
Yeah,
enough money for retirement. If you go and look at all the companies now, including the United States military, as of 2018, there's no more pensions for most
right.
companies. There's no retirement plan. Everything is turned into a traditional IRA or some type of traditional savings plan in order for you to save for retirement. So that's what's going on. And people are trying to build those accounts, and you can't build it getting 1 to 2% every year.
Yeah, that's good that you brought that up. With the as far as like people like, jumping from a job to another job. Now there's two things for that. Like when you look at the stance of the corporation or the company that you work for, is that they look at performance. They don't really care much for inflation. They just care about their inflation, right? How much they want to inflate to give to pay you. But us as that we work, um, what do you say like we're looking at the inflation in a different perspective because we're the ones who are actually putting in the work, making sure that everything is producing,
Yeah,
but we're not getting compensated to what we think we should be compensated. So that's the leap. When there's a company that's not trying to give you what you think you should be getting compensated for, then that's when you look for another company or whatever it is. Like for myself, I just jumped into my own. It's something that I was like, maybe if I do it on my own, I'm gonna get paid what I'm gonna put my effort into.
yeah,
So with that, when you look at the IRAs, you look at your money markets, all these are all traditional investments, that you put your money into to try to get above inflation, with all the uh, how it's fighting inflation.
yeah.
Now, what you got to
I'm back.
think about too with the banks, the same thing how they all started. They didn't all start all as one entity, like one. They were all different, all across United States. There were different banks, give you different type of currencies. There wasn't like a one currency that you have like a dollar or you have like a $2 bill that's like right here that's all a reserve note, and it tells you over here what it's for. Now,
Yeah,
back in the day, now every note that they'll give you, like if you look at it like right now, like the cryptocurrency is decentralized. Every coin is different. It's gonna look different. That's how it used to be with the banks. Also, it was not just one note. They all used to look different. That's why if you look into the notes and how they used to look, every bank that they'll give you, they'll issue, will look different than what they are now.
yeah,
But with that said, is it's inflation. It's a killer to our pockets. But I want you guys to think about this: is for our average Joe that work, slaving, working all these hours, is your worth. One thing. The next thing is that's gonna give you your inflation right there. If you worry about inflation, then you're not doing something right. You gotta look at it to a point where in order for you to battle inflation, with the job negotiations and all this, is to make more. How can I make more?
make more money,
So
right?
make more
Yep.
money. Yes, make more money, so that you won't have to worry about the gas prices, because that's something that you can do even as a negotiation. You could talk to your who you work for and be like, hey, this year I was paying $50 a week, to get to my job. If I work at Palmdale, and that's like let's say an hour drive, let's say, and you're spending $50 a week. Now the next year, now you just have to spend 70.
Yeah,
Now how to your job and be like, hey, I'm spending this. I need to make more money. when they understand that
Exactly.
part, but they want to keep paying you what they need, But that's
Yeah.
inflation right
Right.
there. It's the
Absolutely.
money moving. But but that's my take on that right now. And right now we're gonna get to our next segment right now. And thank you all for subscribing, liking our video, and commenting. Um, and we're about to go into our second half. Have we've been doing. If there's anybody who wants to have their company or anything that they're working on and want to speak on our podcast, just feel free to just give us, let us know. Let us know for real. So here we're going on to our second.
Welcome back to Creative Minds. This is episode 6, and we are in the second and the last segment of our show. Or normally we have 3 segments, but today's show is very very unique in the sense that we are going to have just 2 segments. And just right before we came into this segment, we were talking about what inflation is all about. How do we go about negotiating with our jobs? Keeping in mind that there is going to be inflation. But there's one thing that we are going to discuss right now before we jump into the audience extension or audience engagement. And that's one thing. Um, Emilio, before we actually jumped off, right, we actually missed talking about how you factor inflation in your product pricing. I think that's one thing that the average business owner that's out there, that's in e-commerce, that owns a shop, that has a business, that is even doing, should it be, you know, mowing lawns or anything that you have as a business, you have to factor in inflation, right? The prices of everything going up. How do you factor that in your day to day as an e-commerce specialist? Yeah.
As far as I know right now in e-commerce business or any business that we all have, I believe that inflation does take a small portion of it, at least for my
Mhm.
take. The next
Yeah.
thing is you got to look at competition, and that's inflation in itself. It's
Yeah.
how much the competition is going for. So if
Right.
we're selling the same item now, you got to look at it like how much competition do I have? If I have 3 competition, do I have 10 competition? Or if you're mowing a lawn
Yeah.
and you're in a particular part, are you one? Now you could set your price at whatever price you want, it, and if they need it, they're gonna pay for it. Now, what if
Yeah.
3 more people come there? Now they look at your price. Now that you know what they say, instead of me paying you 20, uh, or you could pay me 15. Then it's all a competition. So when it comes to like the e-commerce, I believe it's more on a competition, more than the inflation. The
Yeah.
inflation will come in with how much you're gonna buy the product, but then how much you're gonna sell it for. So it all depends on how much people are gonna willing to sell for and what the profit margin is gonna be. How much are you really trying to make? Do you wait till that one person sells everything? I could say, like, let's say one of the cars that I have back here. If I'm selling one, and you get it for a particular amount, and you sell it for, like, let's say 10, are you willing to wait for the next person to sell his for you to sell higher, or are you gonna keep it the same and just fall back and just let them sell theirs and then yours will come next? I mean, it takes on different roles as far as
Yeah.
like the e-commerce. It's very competitive.
Right.
And sometimes you have to keep updating prices. So I mean that's just that for as far as that e-commerce goes.
Absolutely. And again, just to remind our audience, in terms of the definition of inflation, according to Investopedia, inflation is a decrease in the purchasing power of money, reflected in a general increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy, right? So it boils down to prices going up. Right. Now, we have talked about inflation, how to combat it. This is where we would normally turn to our audience, right, to give that ear, to have that engagement. And I believe we do have somebody who actually sent us a question that maybe we should kind of discuss about this. Brian, do you mind, taking us into this question that this audience member? And thanks again for the questions, guys. Like, subscribe, share, and let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I got a question here. It's what stock or currency should I buy to combat future inflation? So I recommend people buying dividend stocks, putting your money in those places in order to pay you a passive income, in order
Hmm.
to make up for that loss that you're experiencing from inflation and
Yeah,
also from your bank. Uh, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, those are good safe havens to put your money in, even in a volatile market as we got. And this kind of piggyback to our first discussion. You have to realize that like why you're having inflation is because mainly the companies that you're working for, they can't afford to take care of you in your retirement age. You're going to have to do that yourself. Like that's why they come out with the IRA plans. Like
yeah,
just an example, a large company, if 50 people retire out of that company a year, and then they have to pay them a pension, and then the next year another 50 people retire and they have to pay them a pension, that company can't afford to keep doing that. Also with inflation on them as well, the cost of them doing business, that stuff, that kind of old style America is gone now. You got to make your own retirement.
yeah,
We're living longer. You have to make your money work longer for you. And that IRA, if you're not like educated on how to save and invest your money, that IRA is simply can be just like a savings account. Like
yeah,
you eventually start taking that money out. That money it'll dry up before you're 80, 85, and you're still here. But if you buy a dividend stock, you don't ever have to sell the stock. You can just hold the stock and it'll pay you. You live off of that passive income. Even in retirement, a pension is just going to give you maybe 50%, 60% of what you were actually making while you're on the job. That's another form of you not getting the exact money that you need to carry yourself. So you have to learn how to become an individual investor yourself and take care of your own money.
absolutely. Emilio, I know you do have a point of view or two, right, about
Yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah, definitely.
Please share.
With the stocks is, yeah, you're head on with the dividend stocks. It's a perfect way if you want to make some incentives, and it's gonna help you, like how we spoke on a conversation. I guess it's gonna give you your own raise if
Hmm.
you're working, and then you get these stocks and you get dividends and you get like fractional shares, or actually get full shares and you get like 100. If they're $20 a pop, you get five, and it just as you work and you start saving, you look at it as a savings account, and you start buying five, which is 100. Then you get another five the next 2 weeks, and within
Yep.
6 months you're gonna have so many that at the end of
Hmm.
the day those dividends gonna keep growing. So it's like you're giving yourself a raise. So
Yes.
that's what the stocks, yeah. So that's what the stocks goes, and then the currencies. Uh, Honestly, when it comes to currency, like the currencies,
It's tricky.
your top five, your top five, you gotta look at the way the money is growing. It's just only going up. So any cryptocurrency, when we're talking about like Bitcoin, we're talking about Ethereum. Oh, we haven't, like I said, we haven't even jumped into the NFTs.
Yeah,
Still, which you get royalties from. Uh, all of these different currencies are gonna give you more income. Now, here's the next thing that comes from my part is, what about a side hustle? If you're working and you're in the work field, find a side hustle. Maybe that's gonna help you to get that extra $100 a month. What if that's all you really need? That's really all you want is an extra $200 a month, or I mean, yeah, $200 a month. Then find a side hustle. Find something that that the market needs or something, and then I found something with cars. You guys could do it. Anybody could do that part. Look into the cars. I have a full wall of beautiful cars, and it all started with just one. And
Yeah,
honestly, it all started with just one. I'm over 300. Way
yeah,
over 300. But it's what you want to pay yourself, how you look at yourself. If you're in a work field and you feel like you're in a rut, go out there at the internet. Everything's in the internet. I mean, that's how you're gonna battle inflation. Everything right now is digitized. Just go on to YouTube. It's gonna show you anything on how to make anything happen. But it's all up to you. It's already up to you.
there you go.
That's it.
So bottom line is, you know, in the next couple of months, if there's inflation, that means it's less money in your hands. You still have to buy the same things that you normally would buy. Basic needs, basic foods for breakfast, lunch, and
Yeah.
dinner, clothing, whether it's just a shirt and under pants or whatever, you are still gonna need to buy those things. But the prices are gonna go up. Inflation makes it tougher for you to buy the basic stuff that you need. So the way that I look at it, in terms of stocks, you guys have mentioned it. Dividend stocks, they go a long way. They go a long way to give you back what exactly you can use to either reinvest or deploy it somewhere else. So dividend stocks are a winner, right? And we have mentioned quite a bunch of them: QYLD, AT&T, Verizon. There's a whole lot of them that anybody who is interested just needs to go and look for dividend stocks or dividend ETFs, whichever one that you want to. You buy a couple of them and you start getting these dividends, right? Whether it's 3%, 5%, 7%, whether it's monthly or quarterly, those dividends are going to trickle in. And they make a good amount at the end of the year. You can see a sizable amount. But for you to actually see the worth of it in cash terms, you have to opt for those dividends not to be reinvested automatically within your portfolio, right? So that's
Right.
something that I have done where I have decided, with the brokerage that I use, I have worked with the individuals and I told them that, look, for any dividend that comes, I would like for it to sit within my account as cash, which means that at the end of the year, I can decide whether to switch the that cash to IPO stocks or to anything else. But again, that's me. But if you're just starting, start with whatever that will work for you when it comes to the stocks. For cryptocurrencies, the big ones, right? Bitcoin, if you can get it. Ethereum, if you can get it. Crow, I still believe in crypto.com. That's a platform that is growing. Solana, there's quite a few currencies out there that have been very stable. They do dive with the market, but still, they are much more robust than some of the currencies that are out there. Close to 8,000 cryptocurrencies, that's way too many, way too many, right? So nobody would expect you to go and put $1 in each and every one of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is definitely not a good strategy. I wouldn't advise anybody, or I won't do it. So if if anybody feels like it's a good way for them to kind of spread the risk, why not? But again, these are just ways that we think that that anyone can actually go about, fighting the inflation or choosing the stocks that they can buy. I think it's been a very good conversation, guys. We are definitely going to be signing off, but as usual, we always have some final words, right? So, Brian, do you want to start, and then Emilia would finish off? Any words for our audience, or people that are watching and sharing and liking?
Yep. Just want to say thank y'all for the likes, the subscribes, and all the new viewings that we're getting. I'm excited for next week. We got a real good video. We back on the cryptocurrency. We're gonna be talking about MetaMask, and we're gonna be actually talking about getting that real passive income on the
Yeah.
second layer of cryptocurrency that the government doesn't even talk about really in the DeFi space. So that's what I'm excited for next week, y'all. Setting up
There
those.
you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
same thing. I really want to appreciate everybody who has, you know, uh, gotten in contact with the comments, or anybody who has liked us, anybody who has, new to our channel. anybody that you are gonna actually pass this on to after this episode, we really appreciate it. You guys are gonna be the ones that we're actually doing it for. Whoever it is that's following us, uh, hopefully, and I know it will happen where we will have a greater following and we will have more interactions with the people. Just who's gonna be the first one to interact? I mean, that's the question. And what are you gonna bring that to help anybody around your family or your friends. That's what you really gotta look at. Whose heart are you gonna touch? Whose waters are you gonna touch as far as like making them better? Because that's what we're here for, just to make each other better, um, head into the right direction with the future, and that's that.
There you
So
go. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And again, like, comment, click the subscription button, click the bell. Let us know what you think. And before we go, I really would like to give a big shout out to Pablo Zambrano, who actually reached out and did express how he feels about the show. So hey, Pablo, if you're watching this, thank you for the comment. And we have got some calls. We are feeling the love. So hey, let us know what you think. Again, we are here just to discuss about passive income. It's There are so many ways of going about it. So if anybody has any comments, feedback, or would like to be part of the show, just let us know. And until then, it's goodbye from Creative Minds, and we're going to be talking to you guys next week. Ciao.
yeah,
There you go.
peace.